Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, General Sam, back at it. Hold on, let me get this mic right here. Back at it again with another podcast. Holidays just happened. Christmas is over with. We're in a new decade. A whole new decade to fuck up even better. And considering we're getting thrown into World War III, off to a good start. But you know what's great is I know you guys. I haven't lost any patrons, right? You guys are great dudes. There's no fucking chicks here. Let's be honest. It's all dudes. Great dudes. I've said to myself, if I don't do the 2 podcasts and then the exclusive, then I ain't charging in a month. Then I'm not charging you guys. So I didn't charge you guys for January, but this month I'm sticking to it. So at the end of this month, I'm getting them shekels. They're mine. But yeah, dude, I hope you guys had a great Christmas, but mine was fucking wacky, dude. I got like everybody in my family can't keep it together, and so everybody's divorced. I keep having to go to all these goddamn family things, and like everybody wants their own Christmas because nobody can get along, and so I ended up going to like 4 different households, and then believe it or not, the daycare people, apparently they want to spend time with their family, so that fucking place was closed down for the holidays. And then so I ended up having a lot less time than I thought I would in December. And I had that kick, man, where I was just pumping out video after video, and I was like, I can do the podcast in a moment. And then all of a sudden the daycare lady was like, yeah, I'm closed, by the way, because I want like the week of Christmas off. So I was just watching Madeline, but it doesn't matter. New year, everything's back to normal, and I'm cranking away on it. You know, like Abby got a fucking coffee pot for Christmas. Like we started out. First of all, I'm not that big of a coffee guy. I drink it every day, but I don't think I possess the palate for good coffee. You know what I mean? Like every year. And like every cup of coffee, she goes like this. She'll go, something's off with this. I don't know. I don't care for that. That's her coffee experience. Me, I just down a fucking cup of coffee. I don't want to get fancy with it. And she... So we started off with like some Mr. Coffee Mate thing, right? You put the shit in and it comes out and it makes a pot of coffee. And then she was like, hey, I want to move into the current year. And so we got one of those Keurigs, right? That was cool. And then we went one step above and we got like the nicer Keurig with like the LCD screen on it. And I was like, whatever. And but apparently those are bad for the environment. But... If you're a sea creature and you get killed by a K-cup, it's kind of your fault. It has to be a little bit your fault. But it'd be different if it was like a plastic harpoon or something. It's just a fucking K-cup. It doesn't matter. Point is, I'm not gonna get into a debate about this. The point is that this year she decided that the regular coffee pot or the Keurig. The Keurig, even the upper echelon shit was not good enough for her. She had to have, she's a coffee expert, a connoisseur of all things roasted beans. And so we got this like god-awful thing in there. It's all stainless steel and shit. It looks like something out of Dexter's lab. And then, but apparently it makes cappuccinos. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I fucking love me a cappuccino. And so I had her show me how to make it. And it is like incredible. It's this thing, it sits on the counter and it like, showed me, I wrote it all down, but it's me, you know, so I don't know what to call things. So I just wrote down garbage on the paper and I couldn't remember how to do it. So I just spent the past 30 minutes trying to brew a fucking cappuccino because my list said like, a flip down doodad, 2 small scoops of coffee, flip down doodad, frothy thing. I forgot where the frothy thing was. This thing has a milk frother that folds out the back end of it, and you hit this button, and it goes, and it'll froth your milk for you. It's incredible. It makes these Delicious cappuccinos. While everybody's all going crazy about Trump's World War III thing, which, if you haven't heard, they killed General Salami, another one of us down. Generals are getting hunted off the face of the planet, I swear to God. But I saw something about Trump. If I could get into politics for a bit, it kind of cracked me up because he was supposed to be doing like some campaigning bullshit, right? And he was talking about energy efficient stuff in the house like it was a horrible thing. And but it cracked me up the way he said it. It was like it was almost a joke the way he was saying it, like he didn't believe what he was saying, but people in the crowd were cheering because, people like their candidate or whatever. They'll fucking, if he goes up there and stretches his asshole, they're going to like it. So he's sitting there talking about like low flow toilets. That's what it was. Yeah. He was like, the toilets just don't flush like they used to. And light bulbs. You know why I look so orange? It's because of these darn energy efficient light bulbs. And people are like, wow. Remember back when it took 10 gallons to flush that log down the toilet? And you could get a fucking sunburn from your light bulb next to your head? Those were the days. I remember my mom had a lampshade in the living room that the 100-watt light bulb, and it got so hot that the fucking lampshade was brown in spots where it had like the radiant heat had like burned and toasted the lampshade. Those were the good old days. That's what I miss. Yeah, he needs to everybody's concerned about like health benefits and stuff. He needs to spin like destroying the environment as a healthy thing. He's like, the number one problem in America is cancer. Cancer's a horrible thing. I've always hated cancer. So what we should do is thwart that dastardly sun by creating a comforting, protective layer of smog that keeps those harmful UV rays from causing melanomas. So we need to bring back the coal industry. We need to bring back fracking and shit, like all sorts of bad shit, just so we can create a nice protective layer above us. Dude, I got these Christmas pants from H&M, and they are possibly the warmest things I have. So I had to disrobe a little bit, get my pants going off. You know what I'm saying? Have you guys ever been to r/pussypassdenied? It's a great example of a subreddit getting shifted away from its initial purpose. The purpose of that subreddit initially was to videos or examples or screenshots of women getting treated equally as if they were a man, right? Just a human, not treated better or anything, and then them being shocked at that experience. So like most of them are just women getting in arguments with dudes, and then they slap the guy, and the guy just slaps them back, and they're like, like absolutely baffled that they would ever be subjected to getting their fucking stupid head slapped. And I thought it was kind of funny at first, but that subreddit has been twisted, and it has been taken over by just like straight up misogynists. That I was watching this. There's this fucking idiot on there that does these like compilations. It's so lame. It's like every time the pussy pass is denied, so to speak, he does like a rubber stamp in a video. It's like a compilation. He'll do like a rubber stamp as soon as like the girl's slapped or something or whatever it is, or she has to pay for her own dinner or something. Anytime that happens, it goes denied and does like a big rubber stamp thing on the screen, right? And I was watching one of those, and there's this woman going across a crosswalk, minding her own fucking business. Just walking, having a good time, walking across the sidewalk, and this guy starts crossing opposite to her, and as soon as he gets up to her, he just fucking does a haymaker and clotheslines this bitch, and she goes flying out, like goes completely horizontal and drops to the ground like a sack of taters. And like as soon as she hits the ground, here comes the rubber stamp, gunk, denied. Like, what was being denied there? That wasn't an example of equality. I'm going to be pissed if as a guy, if I walk across the sidewalk and some fucking dude clotheslines me. I'm not expecting that shit. I'd be denying a pussy pass too. God damn. It's funny, like the transformation of what that subreddit's become. It is so out of whack now. It just doesn't make sense to me. So anyways, okay, so let's talk about important stuff. I watched some media recently over the Christmas break because I had plenty of time to watch TVs and stuff. Daycare being closed, I was watching Madeline. Had plenty of time to watch stuff. And while I was cracking open those gushers, I watched The Witcher. Yeah, that whole series. And I wanted to talk about it because there's a lot of hype around that thing. And I don't think it's that great. I take that back. I think it's as good as a Witcher TV show can be. And I think it's as good as I could have expected. The thing is that fucking thing is so goddamn confusing. I don't know what the hell's going on. And it went from, like, I played the game, right? Or I played Witcher 3, I think is the one I played. And so I kind of understood what was going on. I hadn't really remembered the names of the kingdoms and all that shit, but they really don't hold your hand at all. You're kind of just expected to know that shit. I think it's more of a show directed at people that have already read the books or played the games. And the other problem with it is they at no point explain to you that you are looking at different passages of time. They could have given some of these motherfuckers gray hair or something, but no. There's like one person's storyline is in the present, the other person's storyline is in the past, rapidly reaching present day, and they fucking don't tell you that at all. There is no indication of that. And you could have done that with some graying of the hair, something. But no. And this is my same problem with that movie, The Irishman, by the way. I'll get to that later. And so, like, and they even, what's her face? Fucking Yennefer even remarks at, like, that little douchey squire boy that's always with Geralt. He says, she says, "Oh, I see you got crow's feet." And he still looks like he's 12. He's still the little bard guy. He still looks like a little 12-year-old, and they say he has crow's feet. I'm like, I don't see any fucking crow's feet. Does that mean decades have passed since last time? I don't get it. So they do not properly express the passage of time in that show. That's really my only main complaint. Besides that, everything else is done well, except for the beginning of the season and the end of the season have drastically different production values. There is like some of that show looks like Kino upper tier, beautiful shit. Really great, fantastically shot, good CGI, nothing bad with it. And then there's some scenes that look like they're from fucking Xeno Warrior Princess from 1992. There's some shit that looks so stupid. There's that fucking Golden Dragon episode. Everything about that episode sucked. Big farts, dude. That whole episode sucked. It looked bad. The fight was just like some spinning Xeno Warrior Princess garbage. That's what it looked like. And the fucking dragon looked like dog shit. There was nothing about it that was good. Nothing about that episode was good. I would have liked there to be some exposition or something. I know that's a cheap way of filmmaking, but they should have told us that there was different timelines. Because it's one thing to have like a movie like Memento where the whole movie's backwards and then you figure that out at the end and it feels great. But with this with this TV show, I watched like 8 hours of TV and at the end you realize that it's split timelines and you go, oh, well, why the fuck did they do it that way? It's not like an aha moment. It's like a oh moment. You know, it's a totally different vibe. All in all, I can't wait for season 2. I like the fact that they didn't just roll this thing into like CSI. I could see The Witcher being a CSI game where it's like he goes up to someone and they go, "Hey, we want this thing dead," and he goes, "Okay, I'm off to go hunt that," and that's it. And it's just different ones every time. He only hunted like 3 beasts or something through the whole 8 episodes. A lot of it was like politics and stuff. They did a good job of lacing the job of the Witcher with the overarching political storyline and all that crap. That was pretty cool. I'll give him that. There's some work to be done, but I like where it's heading. Now, on to The Irishman. I ain't done with this shit yet. I fucking watched this god-awful movie. 3.5 hours I spent doing that. It's a long one. My coffee's cold. Which sucks. Check out this stupid mug my dad got me. He found it on Urban Dictionary or whatever. It says General Sam, and then on the back it has an incredibly outdated description of who I am. Straight out of 2015. I was like, all right, thanks. All right, so The Irishman. I watched that while I was cracking open those gushers again, right? Yeah, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. And watching The Irishman, man, that movie, I didn't know it was made by Martin Scorsese. I was watching it, and I was like, dude, halfway through, I was like, this movie, it feels like if a college student, film student, like watched a bunch of Martin Scorsese movies and then gets told to do their final dissertation on Scorsese movies. And they get paid to make one. It's like a cheap college student ripoff of a Scorsese movie. That's what it felt like. And then I found out it was actually him, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? It's just, you know what it is? I guarantee you I know what it is. They came to Martin Scorsese, or they went up to, I don't know, fucking Universal or some shit, and they said, hey, can we buy the license to Goodfellas or Casino? And they were like, nah, Disney already paid us for that shit. And so they go, okay, well, hey, Martin Scorsese, can you just make Goodfellas or Casino? Here's some money. And he's like, okay. And so I just feel like there's nothing in it, you know? Not nothing in it substance-wise. The story, I like the idea of the story. This thing is so fucking over-the-top, blown-out long. The first 40 minutes can get cut. It takes you like an hour to even get up to Jimmy Hoffa. It's about, by the way, it's about Jimmy Hoffa's death. Who killed Jimmy Hoffa? And it takes like 40 minutes for him to even roll up on screen. Everybody's talking about how great De Niro was. He just sits there with a grumpy face on the whole fucking time and does nothing. Nobody says shit about Al Pacino. He's acting his socks off trying to carry De Niro's dead-ass fucking fat weight. And Joe Pesci's Joe Pesci, but he never does any of those Joe Pesci moments, you know, where he's like in Casino when he's out in the desert and he's like, you motherfucker, you. He never does any of that. He just sits there and goes, hey, you know, sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes, you know. And then De Niro's just sitting there going, hey, you don't have to tell me that. I know it is what it is. You know, what you gonna do? And then Al Pacino's over there actually acting and putting his fucking 2 cents in there. Look, if you're going to have a protagonist to a fucking movie, he can't be the most boring motherfucker in it. That's what De Niro is in this movie. Now, it has nothing to do with De Niro, I don't think. It has everything to do with maybe that character just sucks. Maybe everybody around him was just interesting, and he wasn't. Not a fan at all. In fact, the worst part about it was the fact that, once again, passage of time, they could have just covered this guy from like midlife to death, right? And instead, they chose to cover him like through his whole life. The Irishman, from like the point he got a job up to... And so in the beginning of the movie, he's getting his truck worked on by one of the mob bosses, and he drives away and everything. And I think I'm supposed to believe that Robert De Niro is like 30 in that... Motherfucker looks like he's 85, and I'm supposed to believe he's 30. Like, what the fuck is that? And then on top of that, he goes in his daughter ends up getting pushed by like a grocery store owner or something like that. And like, he goes down there and teaches his daughter's boss a lesson, and he beats him up. The problem is that De Niro's character is 30, But De Niro in real life is like 78 or something. How fucking old is this guy? I'm going to look it up. He's 76. So he is supposed to be playing a character that's like 30, beating up this grocery store clerk. They did no CGI, no body double. It's a wide shot. It's him from like 30 feet away walking into this grocery store to beat up this guy. And they didn't use a body double or nothing. You barely see his face. He walks into the store, drags this guy out, and starts like beating him up. But he's moving like a 76-year-old. I'm like, am I supposed to believe this is a 30-year-old man that hasn't gone through some sort of spine problem? Like, he's moving like he has he doesn't want to fuck up his prosthetic hip. And he does this weird thing where he like stomps on the guy's hand. And you could tell he's like this old dude with like a bad back and everything. He's like, and then he like hobbles away. Like you could tell right off the edge of the screen, they had a walker for him so he could grab it and fucking hobble out of there. It was fucking weird. It was weird. It was supposed to be this biopic of this guy going through his life. And instead, it's just Robert De Niro with varying amounts of foundation on his face. And he gets old and they were like, okay, now we can put the gray hair on there. But I don't know. They did not do a good job with that. He is way too fucking old to be playing a young guy. He does not move like a young guy. He's got that stiff back, slightly bent over forward. You know, like all those iconic characters that like Scorsese makes for his mobster movies that you only see him for a second, you know? Like Jimmy Whispers or people like that. The guy that's like, I'm going to go get the papers. It's like his name's like Tony 2 times or some shit. Like all those guys, they stick in your mind. I don't remember a single fucking person from this movie, a side character, except for I know Sebastian Maniscalco was one of the guys. He was one of the other mobsters. And I just know him as a comedian. His character kind of sucked. He was just like, hey, what's up? I'm Italian. That's it. I felt like he was paid to make a Scorsese movie. And he's like, oh, I can do that. I'm Martin Scorsese. I'm the perfect man for the job. But he didn't really have the heart to do it. You know what I mean? I just feel like it was an excuse to get Pesci, De Niro, and Al Pacino all on the fucking screen at the same time before one of them dies from old age. But I will tell you something. That last 30 minutes of that movie, post Jimmy Hoffa's death to the end, that shit was beautiful, man. That was the best part of that movie. If you cut off the first 40 minutes or whatever before the introduction of Jimmy Hoffa and you just start the movie, move through his life, and then you just have that point of De Niro sliding into irrelevancy in that old folks' home and everything. That was a good part of that movie. I honestly, that was the most captivating part to me was the ending. But there was that whole hour and a half of where they were trying to build tension between Jimmy Hoffa and the mob. And they really failed to do it because all it was the mob was like, hey, could you stop doing that? And Jimmy's like, oh, what are you going to do? 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 I'm not going to not do it. And then the mob's like, hey, 5 years later, hey, could you not do that? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I can't not do it. It was just that for like an hour. And then finally they're like, okay, we're frustrated with this guy. Let's fucking kill him. I know this is like a blasphemy to you guys because nobody's a bigger fan than Scorsese. All right. I love Scorsese films. Even the Hugo or whatever, the one with the kid in the train station, fantastic movie. And I rewatch them. That's the thing about Scorsese movies. I've watched The Departed so many times. That is such a good fucking movie. Everything about it is great. I love it. I will not be watching The Irishman ever again. And I've thought about this. This isn't something where I just like, I watched it and then I came over here and was like, hey, let's talk about it. I watched this thing like a week ago and I've sat there and thought about it. Not impressed. Not in the slightest. I haven't even thought about it actually until I sat down to talk about this shit. That's how I know a movie's bad. Like sometimes I'll watch a movie and not enjoy it, but then I'll be thinking about it days later and I'll be like, okay, if a movie makes me think that much, it must be good, you know? But I watched The Irishman And then the next day I had forgotten it existed because it was just such an underwhelming thing. And that's me going into it with no hype. Imagine me going, oh my God, Scorsese has a new movie? Let's go watch it. You know, like getting primed to be excited. And then I go watch it. And I have to watch this geriatric man try to break a dude's hand on the sidewalk. All right, now on to actual video game related stuff. Is anybody else absolutely stoked that Tarkov is finally taking off? Huh? You guys sat there and bitched and moaned about every Tarkov video I put out since 2017. Oh, what is this stupid game? What is this, Rust? I don't understand how it works. Same thing with Hunt Showdown. How does it work? And then all of a sudden it's popping off on Twitch. You know how many fucking YouTubers and Twitch streamers I've seen that just like, they're like, oh, I see it. It's getting popular. It's getting popular. And then they just hop on it like a bitch in heat. They see that fucking thing, that money's to be made. They hop on there. They're streaming it, not understanding that people won't watch you unless you have drops on. So they're just like, why am I getting no viewers? Meanwhile, Pastilli, the god himself, Pastilli, oh my God, what a man. What a hunky man. Pastilli, if you're out there, and you want to escape those Australian fires, you got a spot in my bed, baby. This guy has gotten me through more raids than anybody else. Taught me loot paths and everything. Beautiful human. Absolutely outstanding. This motherfucker's pulling in 100K viewers. 100K. Went from, I'm not going to lie, Pastilli, if you ever see this, he dedicated yourself so heavy to a niche game. I'm talking dedicated. This motherfucker, sometimes you'd open up his videos and it would just be like raids, right? Pretty standard stuff. And sometimes you'd open it up and he would, motherfucker looked like Einstein with graphs and shit. And he's like talking about the inner machinations of the flea market and statistics and probabilities. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? This dude has dedicated himself to this game through and through. And so I see this guy going from like, numbers that I would be pulling on Twitch to 100K overnight. That's what I'm talking about. All I do is shit on other YouTubers and Twitch people because, it takes a lot to have me respect somebody. But Pastilli deserved every fucking view he got. That motherfucker too. He would sit there. He was like looking at his dashboard, and he goes, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's telling me on my Twitch dashboard right here that if I run ads, like an ad break, I will get $460 or some shit. And that was when he was at like 60K viewers. He's like, when I go to load into this map and it takes a couple minutes to load in, can I run an ad break? Like, because I really need the money. This he's been doing Tarkov and he's been pulling all right numbers, but not like, dude's got a fucking wife and shit. Like he's got like a household to keep up. This is his opportunity. And everybody in the Twitch chat was like, fucking run the ads, man. You do it. And he did it. And he kept doing it in between every match. And it was like, people were hounding him for it. Dude, where's those ads, man? We're in a loading screen. And that's the difference between his fans and my fans. Is that if I ran an ad break, you guys would come at me like fucking sharks in the water. Oh, look at this fucking guy. What, you ain't got enough money? Running a fucking ad break? Look at you. You piece of shit. Like, you guys would fucking tear my ass apart. His fans, on the other hand, are fucking rooting for him. Yeah, do it, man. Get that bag. But, dude, that Tarkov blowing up, I fucking knew it would happen. When 0.12 came out and they had the hideout and everything, added a whole new, like, time-consuming layer to the game. It made it go from, like, a novelty, not novelty, but it was such a micro niche type of game. There was nothing else like it. But there was, if you weren't into the PvP, there was no point to playing it. You know what I mean? But now it's like, because I'm not that big on the PvP side of it, to be honest. I know that's the point, but I'm not big on it. And but now that they added like the hideout and like there's more in-depth quests and everything, there's a whole nother part of the game. There's different reasons to play, and it's a flushed out game now, and it's bopping, man. It is bopping, and now all these fucking YouTubers are popping on it. I was watching some of them, man. It's fucking hilarious to see Dr. Disrespect, Wellen. Who else did I see hop on for the first time, and they're just eating shit and have no idea what's going on. They're just like, oh yeah, I got US ammo in my gun. USGS. That's good shit, right? But anyways, and everybody else is so pissed off about the influx of players. They're like, oh my God, there's so many people on now. It sucks. And all the normies are here. Nah, dude. I'm not in that camp. I am not in that camp. First of all, I want the game to succeed. All right? I like the game. It's a good game. Second of all, with more new people coming in and doing their hideout stuff, influenced by all these content creators and streamers and shit. All them wires and pliers and fucking light bulbs and shit I'm finding in Raid have doubled in price. Light bulbs, 23,000 rubles. Metal cutting pliers, 80,000 rubles. Wires, they're up to 15K. Sorry, sir. Dude, the market's calling. I'm like fucking the Warren Buffett of Tarkov right now. I go in, grab up some shit on the ground, go back out, disperse it to the market. I undercut by 1 ruble. If something's selling at max like 15,000, I come in 14,999. Boom, off the market, 2 seconds. People will do anything to save a ruble, and I'll do anything to fucking earn a ruble. Don't you even try me. I'm on it. I'll go in and I'll go through a dumpster in that game just to get some garbage to sell. That's the fun for me. It's not fighting people. It's nothing to do with that. For some reason, I get pleasure out of just running in, grabbing garbage, and then watching people eat it out of my hand. I feel like those old guys that go to the park with like a stale bread and throw it out to the pigeons. Eat, you whores. Grab all my light bulbs and fucking wires and CPU fans and all that other crap. Ah, man. It's a good game, though. Good game. I can't wait to see where it goes. There's some stupid shit in the news. The news. We'll call it internet people news. Something about one of the Paul brothers they broke up with their girl or what. Who fucking cares about that? There's that one about Logan Paul sucking cock. I've studied that video extensively. And I watched the video. I watched it long and hard. I studied every angle, every little subtle nuance, and I've determined that is not at all Logan Paul. It looks nothing like Logan Paul. As an expert on videos of guys sucking cock, that doesn't even look like Logan Paul. It's just a white guy. It's like every time I get on my fucking email or my Instagram DMs or Twitter DMs, I always get these messages of people that are like, hey, I found a white guy with brown hair and glasses. Look, it's you. Like, not every motherfucker with glasses looks like me. But apparently every white guy that's of a decent build laying on a bed upside down getting his throat fucked is Logan Paul. So who knew? I know you guys were kind of waiting for like a Mordhau response video, right? And I know you guys were probably hankering for it because I said I was going to make one. I talked about it on the one of the previous podcasts, and I posted my problems with Mordhau as a highlight. It was actually one of the recent highlights. Well, in the comments to that, there's this guy going absolutely ballistic. He is angry, and he is defending his game with all of his heart. This guy also went to the subreddit for Mordhau and was posting about me, very angry, defending it to the death. But one of the things he said that struck me was he said, was it? I think it was him. Yeah, he said nothing against Sam because I'm not here to argue about whether or not whether or not he apparently he likes my channel or something like that, but he doesn't like the influence content creators have on games, right? And so he compares me to Seth Scene Talk. If you guys have ever seen Seth Scene Talk, and I know you have because some people talk about Seth Scene Talk in my comments, and they always get a lot of thumbs ups because he's a very popular guy. And he compares me to Seth Scene Talk and talks about how the difference is that while I'm incredibly negative and I can negatively impact a community of a game, Seth, on the other hand, is always positive. He always has a positive input on the game and plays these niche games or obscure games and hypes them up, and he'll reinvigorate a community. First of all, I am absolutely humbled and blessed to ever be compared to Seth Scene Talk. To even compare what I do to Seth Scene Talk, that makes my heart warm. Have you seen one of my videos? Watch it and then go watch a Seth Scene Talk video. You know what that's like? That's like watching The Irishman and then watching Goodfellas right afterwards. What I do can't even be compared. Yeah, he's positive because he's like, he'll play a game that he likes. I went to go play Mordhau because everybody was playing it, and it sucked. I'm sorry, so I said it sucked. Should I just not have a negative opinion on something? And the best part is I knew exactly the way that Mordhau was going, and it went that way. I knew it, and I think that's what's eating this guy from the inside. But for the question of whether or not content creators should be able to negatively influence people and stuff like that in communities or whatever, dude, if you ever listen to what a YouTuber says to you or a streamer, then you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid. Take Steve, for example. Steve was like, I'm not that big on Tarkov. It's dumb. It's a dumb game. It's stupid. All of a sudden, Anthony Kong fans started playing it and was like, oh, it's pretty good. And then Steve's like, oh, I fucking love Tarkov. It's a good game. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Anthony Kong fan says so. That fucking guy, he won't believe, he will never form his own opinion on anything unless Anthony Kong fan has the idea and pumps it out of his little Asian cock into Steve's mouth. That's the only time it'll come out. Is this Anthony's nut? Oh no, that's a positive review of Tarkov. I should probably play it, says Anthony. I don't like how Anthony's playing marionette doll with my friend. Won't even let him think on his own. I guarantee you, by the way, this guy doesn't have the same opinion of me that he has of, what's that guy, Total Biscuit, who would tear down companies for like predatory business practices or something. I swear to God, if my dog barks again. What do you want? Hey, Gwen, shut up! Oh, God damn. My dog's barking at the Paul's Pest Control man. And so I went in there and I turned the blinds not this way, because if I turn them facing down, then she'll stick her fucking stupid nose under the blinds and she'll look at you like this and she'll go "Ruh, ruh, ruh, ruh," and bark. So I turned them the other way where you have to like pull them down, and she hasn't figured out she can like pull them with her lip. So now she's sitting there staring at the fucking. She's in there just staring at the fucking blinds in the living room like that. Oh, God. I'll go open them up as soon as the pest control guy goes. Don't worry. Don't count this as animal abuse. Everybody sits there and shows those Twitch videos of like people doing a Steven Seagal to their dog and cracking his neck. But don't put a highlight of me closing the blinds on my dog so she can't see outside. It's not animal abuse, I promise you. You know, I was listening to, that Travis Scott Goosebumps song? I was listening to that fucking thing in the car, and I could have swore the lyrics were like, I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hymen, throw it to the side, yeah. And I was like, everybody's shitting on Drake for grooming these like kids and shit to be his girlfriend when they're 18, and nobody's saying shit about Travis Scott snatching hymens. Like, what the? But apparently I looked up the lyrics and it's Heimlich. I need the Heimlich. But it sounds like Hyman when he's saying it. I'm going to end this off with a question. Someone wrote in. His name is Zetok. Or Zescote. Yeah, that's what it is. Zescote. I don't know how I dyslexed that one. And he says, I'm 20 and I'm at uni. My friends say I don't care about how people feel when I talk because I usually say true facts or anything really about them that are harsh. And I'm losing friends because of it. Any advice? Just look them square in the eye and say, facts don't care about your feelings.